Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers before our class. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitra Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityorma Amritam Gamya Om Sena Bhavatu Sena Bhunatu Saviryam Karvavai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidveshavahi Om Shanti 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 Om. So in the Wednesday classes, we are going through 15 steps of sadhana. And if you do these 15 steps with a full understanding and a faith, these rishis, they say that we can have a direct experience too. And what is this direct experience? The direct experience of who we are in reality. Because right now we think we are this body, or sometimes we think we are what others call us, our name, our position, or what we have acquired. These rishis, they say, no, that's not who we are. We are Atma, which is part of Paramatma. But we need to experience it, not just memorize it, experience it. So what are these 15 steps he talks about? The first one, he says, Yama. Then he says, Niyama, which we are familiar with. And we have talked about in detail in other classes and in this Wednesday class also. Then he says, Tyaga, renunciation. Then he says, Maun, silence. There's too much noise from outside and too much chattering going on in our mind also. We have to learn how to quieten it. Maun. So up to this point, we have discussed in detail. The fifth one, he says, Desh, space. Then Kal, time. Asana, posture. Then Mool Bandh. It's like a literal translation of Mool Bandh is a anal lock. So we'll talk about that also today. Then he says, Deha Samya, holding steady the body. They, not just the physical body, the subtle body also. The sthiti, steadiness of our gaze. Then he says, Pran Sanyamanam, control of the pran. Pratyahar, withdrawal of the senses. Excuse me. Dharna, that's number 13. Continuous reflection. Dhyan, contemplation on the self. Excuse me. Samadhi, total absorption. So these are 15 items in a series. Okay. So we have talked about the first 4. Let's look at number 5. And I think number 5, it's in the last week's notes, the last one. So you can just look at that and I'll go through the verse and the meanings of each word. Adau ante cha madhye च जनः यस्मिन् विद्यते येन इदं सकलं व्याप्तं स देशः विजनः समृतः. Adau, in the beginning. Antehe, in the end. Cha means and. Madhye, in the middle. Cha means also or and. Janaha, people. Yasmin, in which. Na means not. Vidyate, exist. Yen, by which. Idam, this. Sakalam, all. Vyapatam is pervaded. Sa means that. Desha, space. Vijanaha, solitary, like a solitude. Samrita is known. So that state is Desha. Wherein the universe, the Jan, never is. So that means this manifested world is not there. That state is space wherein the universe never is, either in the beginning or in the middle or in the end. But which pervades all this? This is the solitary Vijnaha, Brahma state. So he's trying to define and bring out the term Desh, which is a part of these 15 steps to realize. People and their universe of things and beings are the Jana, are not there in the self. Because that Desh transcends the phenomenal world. Phenomenal world we perceive through the body, mind, intellect, equipments. So that's why it is called Vijana. Without the Jana, it's a solitude, it's a solitary. And we got to reach to that place. Sometimes we think that Desh could be a Tirathsthan. No. This Desh, we got to reach there. You can reach there in the middle of the crowd. This is solitude. Just as on waking from dream, in the waking state, there is no dream. Or there's no dream world when we are awake at all. And the waker realizes that the entire dream was pervaded by waking mind. The whole mind. It was pervaded with the dream. That's how this awakening to the self. The wise person realizes that the phenomenal world was all pervaded by the self. It was nothing but the Paramatma. The world was but a disturbance in the consciousness divine. So this state is called Desh. And this Desh, we are here seeking for. We are doing this sadhana for this. So he's bringing it to our attention. That's why he says Desh. The next verse. Kalanat sarvabhutanam Brahm adhinam nimeshatah Kal shabden nidrishtah Hi akhand anandakaha Advaya, Kalnat, on account of producing. Sarvabhuta names, of all beings. Brahma Adinam, beginning with Brahma. Brahma is the creator, the creative force of Brahma. Nimeshata, in the twinkling of an eye. See, when we blink the eye, that is called a nimesh. Kal Shabden Nirdishtaha is denoted by the term Kal, because that is the next in this sequence, Kal. He means verily, Akhand Anandakaha, one undivided bliss. So it's not the bliss here and not there. It's bliss all the time, undivided. No matter where you are blissful. Advaya, non-dual. So the literal translation of this verse is, the one non-dual, indivisible bliss state is indicated by the term Kal. As it conjures up in a twinkling of the eye. All beings from Brahma downwards. So Kal mentioned in this verse is being defined by the Rishi as Brahm alone. So Kal means Brahm over here. The entire universe of names and forms is brought forth, made to play out and disappear, all with the effortless ease of the twinkling of an eye. By who? By Brahma. Where? In Brahma. It doesn't have to happen somewhere else, because there's no place where Brahma is not. And he doesn't have to go through the series. Just by nimesh, twinkling of an eye. So it's the shortest time frame is just done. The whole creation is there. Because there are other philosophies, they say it took God 7 days to create. But this Sanatana Dharam, this philosophy says, it's twinkling of an eye. Nimesh mat. This is supreme state when it comes to express as the total desires in all minds become God. God becomes the creator, sustainer, annihilator of all polarity. And the same thing happens when we do the sadhana also. When we do keep on doing sadhana, right there where you are, you can become one with God. Up to the world, Kalnaha, as our dream comes to being in our own waking mind, exists and gets merged into our mind, is time. To seek this source of time experience is our goal. To experience this. And it has to become our experience. Right now, we are trying to understand with the help of these words, but if we keep on doing this sadhana, it becomes our experience. The Kal. Next verse, where he talks about asa. Sukhen ev bhavet yasmin ajsaram brahm chintanam asanam tat vijaniyat na itrat sukhnashanam. Sukhen, easily. Sukh se. Ev, verily, bhavet becomes, yasmin, in which, Ajasram, unbroken. Brahmachintanam, meditation upon the truth. Brahma, that's another way you understand Brahma, the truth, the reality, the absolute. Asanam, right posture. Tat means that vijaniyat should be understood. Na means not, itrat, any other, sukhnashanam, destroying comfort. That should be understood as the right posture, asana, in which meditation upon Brahma will flow spontaneously. With unbroken, effortless state. Asana is not any of the postures which destroy one's comfort. So if it's painful, that is not the asana for you, because your mind will go towards the part where the pain is. Any asana where you can sit still and there's no pain, there's no discomfort. How did Rishi Patanjali define asana in Yoga Sutras? Sukham sthiram asana. It could be a Sukhasana, it could be a Padmasana, it could be a Siddhasana, it could be a Vajrasana. For some people, it could be a Shavasana. Or you can sit on the chair. But as long as you forget about this body. Because the moment a student hears the word asana, he thinks about the difficult twists of the body or the painful postures which are prescribed in Hatha Yoga. Sure, in Hatha Yoga, we do several asanas. We twist the body, we go through the inversions, we go through the forward bends, we stretch, we stand on one leg, then the other leg. Some people stand on their head also. But over here, this asana really means where we can forget about this body. Okay, so that's why practice of Hatha Yoga is important, so that the body is healthy. Body doesn't become a hindrance, but practice of this sadhana is needed. Because we do Hatha Yoga because of this. Because the physical postures, that is called the external sadhana. But when the seeker has gained mental purity sufficiently to try meditation successfully, asana has a subtler and deeper significance. So this is what these rishis are telling us, whether Rishi Patanjali or Shankaracharya ji or other rishis. Any posture in which our single-pointed mind is undisturbed and continuously it has turned entirely into the direction of the self within. That is asana. That's why I often repeat in our Hatha Yoga classes also that advanced asanas are where we are working on the body, but our mind is absorbed into the self. It could be very simple Griva Chakra or Skandha Chalan or Bhuja Chakra. If our mind is absorbed into the self, that becomes the ultimate asana. But otherwise, we could be doing very tough postures and thinking about that I'm doing better than others, and we become arrogant. That is not an asana according to these rishis. Remember that. Because even if we have a trace of doubt in our mind, these rishis are pointing out very clearly that asana is not any painful posture of the body. That's why Sukham Sthiram Asanam. And over here, what did he say? Asanam tat vijaniyat na itrat sukh nashanam. Okay? Agar sukh ka nash ho gaya, that is not a asana. Sthiram Sukham Asana. So every day we got to practice. After taking care of this bodily movements, pranayam, sit. See how long you can sit without moving your body. Can you keep your mind steady towards the self? Practice. Then he says, Siddham yat sarvabhutadi vishva adhishtanam avyam yasmin siddha samavishtaha tatve siddh asnam vidu. Siddham is like a famously known Siddham. Yat means which? Sarva Bhutadi, the beginning of all beings. Vishwa Adhishtanam, the substratum of the entire world. Avyam, immutable. Yasmin, in which Siddha, the enlightened. Samavishtaha, completely merged. Tat means that, Vay means alone, Siddh Asanam as a Siddha Asana. Vidu, no. So because he talked about the asana, so now he's talking about try to practice the siddhasana. It's very easy to do meditation in a siddhasana. That which is famously known as the beginning of all beings. That which is the immutable substratum for the entire world of happenings. That in which the men of realization stay merged. That is to be understood as a siddhasana. So siddh also means perfected. So any asana you have perfected when you have merged your mind into the Atma. Okay, there is a siddhasana as such also, but you can be sitting in a padmasana, sukhasana, that becomes your siddhasana. So this is a deeper interpretation of the term asana. Remember that. So siddhasana or even a moolbandh, which we're going to look at next. So to remain merged in the higher state of consciousness, the self, the Brahma, and to stay there well established is siddhasana, perfected. And to awake to that supreme state of pure consciousness, which is the sole substratum for the entire universe of the beings and things, and to remain in that siddha state. And another way you understand the siddha state is a state of fulfillment. He says that is a siddhasana. So idea over here is that don't stop with the mere external body. Sure, we need to make adjustments in the external body, but ultimately, internally, our mind has to be fixed. We got to reach to that point. It's not just touching our toes while keeping our knees straight or keeping our back straight. We got to have the merger of the mind with the self. That's what he's trying to tell us. Then it's a Siddhasana. But in the Siddhasana itself, if you know how to do Siddhasana and the Mool Bandh, they just go hand in hand. It's very easy to do those two together and fix your mind where you want it to. Okay? So two different ways you can look at it. This is Siddhasana. Next one. Yan Moolam Sarvabhutanam, Yan Moolam Chit Bandhanam, Mool Bandha Sada Sevya, Yoga Asau Raj Yogi Nam. Yan Moolam, that which is the root. Mool means root. Sarvabhutanam, of all existence. Yan Moolam, on which is rooted. Chit Bandhanam, the restraint of the mind. Chit Bandh. Mool Bandha, the restraining root. Sada, always. Sevya, to be practiced. Yoga, yoga. Asau, this. Raj Yogi Nam, of the Raj Yogis. That supreme, which is the root of all existence. And supreme is what? Brahma. Upon which the mind is to stay in contemplation, is termed as Mool Bandh. This is to be practiced by the Raj Yogis. We all know everything springs from him, Brahma. He alone nourishes all to act in their fields of work. Whether somebody is writing or dancing or working, whatever we are doing, where is it coming from? He is the life in the living. To hold the mind's attention directed to the self. That's what Raj Yogi does. Keep the mind connected with him. Because with his grace, we can do all the activities. So binding your mind to him is Mool Bandh actually. Sure, at the physical level, we do the Mool Bandh also. That helps our physical body also, psychological body also. But we got to bind our mind to the root. This root word we learned in Bhagavad Gita also. What did Lord Krishna say? Udharva Moolam. The roots are up. Okay, so binding your mind to the roots. Just as the roots of a tree hold it safely and nourish every cell in the tree. That's how this Satyachit is lending existence and consciousness to all of us. So this most important aspect of our life, because of which we are moving and talking and listening and enjoying or not enjoying, it's all because of that. And we forget that root. So to restrain the mind's attention upon this inner state and to let the mind get merged is to reach that infinite state of total awakening. And this needs to be pursued diligently, continuously by all students of Raj Yoga, until we feel that we are bound to the root, totally immersed into the supreme state of pure consciousness. So that's what he means by Mool Bandh. Okay, so bind your mind with the root of the total existence. Then next verse he says, Anganam samatam vidyat same brahmani liyate no chetna ev samanatvam rijutvam shushka vriksha vat. Anganam of the limbs, samatam, equanimity, samata. Vidyat, should know. Same, like again samata, homogeneous. Brahmani, in the truth, liyate, is merged. No chet, otherwise. Na means not, ev means verily, samanatvam, equanimity. Rijutvam, straightness. Shushk vriksh vat, like a dried up tree. Merging into the homogeneous mass of pure consciousness, Brahm. Homogeneous mass of pure consciousness means it's everywhere the same. Homogeneous. If we have a glass of warm milk and we put sugar in there and we stir it, that sugar is every part of that milk. If it's stirred properly, that's called homogeneous. So that's how this Brahm is homogeneous. Merging into the homogeneous mass of pure consciousness is known as the holding steady of the body. That is Deha Samya. Merely straightening the body and holding it steady as a dried up tree is not samanatvam. Okay, keeping the body straight, sure it helps, but he's trying to tell us how to keep your mind always absorbed into Brahma. To steady the body at the physical level and hold it without any movement, sure it is prescribed in the beginning when we do the meditation. But the final goal to be gained is for the individualized ego in the meditator to glide into the state of pure consciousness. So it's just very easily, it should just merge into that. That is a state of objectless, pure awareness. Because Atma or Paramatma is not an object. It's a subject. That's why they say it has to be a subjective experience. Everything else is objective, but not the Atma and Paramatma. So to awake into that state and get the body and the world rubbed out of our awareness is the real holding the body in steady pose. Because if our attention stays on the body alone, we have not reached that perfection. So he's just kind of ridiculing if we merely hold the body steady and motionless. He says it's as unproductive as a dry tree standing steady in its own death and decay. Okay, just to make the point clear, he is using this language over here. It's not that we should not do the asanas. Sure, do the asanas, but forget where we need to go, what the goal is. Okay. Next one. Drishtim jnanamyam kritvaha pashyet brahmayam jagat sadrishtihi param udara na nasagra avlokine. Drishtim, the vision. Jnanamyam, full of knowledge. kritvaha, making, pashyet, should see, brahmayam, as pure consciousness, jagat, the world, sa means that, drishti, vision, paramodara, it's like a param udar, noble. Na means not, na sagra avlokani, seeing the tip of the nose. So this is in that sadhana, the number 10. That's what that is. You remember, out of 15, this is number 10. Raising the ordinary gross vision into the subtle vision of knowledge. One should learn to see the world as pure consciousness, Brahm. That is the noblest of visions. And not that which is turned toward the tip of the own, one's own nose. Sure, we do the ratak. We gaze, but that is only elementary. Ultimately, our gaze should be seeing Brahm everywhere. No place where Brahm is not. That's how our drishti should be. So, steadiness of the gaze, he is giving us a deeper significance of this sadhana. So, we may start practicing Kratak, which will definitely help our eyes, because that's a cleansing of our eyes. Just like we need to take care of our hands and the feet and the back and the front, we need to take care of our eyes also. Because we use these instruments when we are using this body. But ultimately, this practice should help us to quieten the mind a bit. And with that quiet mind, contemplating upon the self, the mind must get merged into that state, and the entire world of objects should roll away from our mind, from our awareness. Everything else rolled away. Just one thing. The Brahm, the God. When the mind reaches the higher state of consciousness, what happens to mind? Mind ends. We cannot end the mind otherwise. The mind is very powerful. Mind will end only when it becomes one with Brahma. And this Rishi is telling us how to do that. He says this is the noblest vision. Param Udara. Merely gazing at the tip of one's nose will not take us anywhere in the spiritual life of awakening into the Brahman state. Remember that. So we got to know where we are starting, how is it helping, but never forget that, hey, no, my journey is ultimate merger. I'm going to reach there. I got to experience all this myself. I have full faith in the words of the Guru and the Rishis. But sadhana, I must do. Step by step, these Rishis, how generous they are to wake us up and to even encouraging us to. We are very fortunate. Let's stop it here and we'll start with this Drishti, Darshan, Drishyanam, that verse. Okay, because time is up. So we'll start from there next week, because this is not done. We still have, I'll be sending a couple of more handouts to you for these verses. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you very much for coming.